Thank you very much, Professor. At first, I was asking about the IAEA issues because today the new IAEA Director General took office from today. So my question is, so what is the most challenging issues for IAEA, especially in the nuclear security issues?
Yes, first of all, the new Director General focused more on the general agenda of the IAEA, so he said war and peace, but also health, energy, and nuclear technology. So the IAEA is not only about safeguards and about the challenges. IAEA is much more, so they are helping out for nuclear medicine, nuclear technology, inspections that the nuclear programs are peaceful, but they are supposed to support nuclear programs as long as they are peaceful as well. So many countries come to the IAEA because according to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, the IAEA should support countries with their nuclear technology. Of course, here in Austria we have a problem with nuclear energy as well. But of course there are these pending issues which is basically what the IAEA says are safeguards, which the IAEA is going to countries which, of course, the Board of Governors has to agree, but if this country has a peaceful nuclear program, the IAEA inspectors go there and inspect whether this program is peaceful or whether there is a danger that nuclear material is weaponized. So the most challenging for the moment, of course, is the Iran issue. We had this very, very good JCPOA, which in the final phase has been negotiated here in Vienna. So it's the best nuclear arms agreement in history. It was 164 pages, and it has a very comprehensive verification and inspection program, which the IAEA was so far possible to implement. And in 14 reports, the IAEA found out that Iran is complying with this agreement. But since the Trump administration withdrew, which is against international law, withdrew from the JCPOA, of course things worsened. And Iran itself says, okay, if some party doesn't comply, the agreement allows other parties to step out of the program as well. But the IAEA is now observing this, so that's not happening in secret, that the IAEA is observing and Iran reports to the IAEA. Of course, there are always some difficulties with inspections because there are very, very strict rules for the target country, but also for the inspectors. So the inspectors have abide by the rule and the target countries as well. And once in a while, of course, there are incidents which was happening in Iran, but it's not clear who violated the rule. That's not clear yet. So that's no matter what international media are reporting. So that's so that is one of the challenging issues, I have to say. It would be much worse if the political tensions increase in Iran and Iran eventually would decide to leave the Non-Proliferation Treaty altogether, because then the IAEA basically would leave Iran as well. There would be no inspectors, no verification anymore. So the good thing about the JCPOA, the nuclear agreement, was that the IAEA is allowed to go to the country and inspect the nuclear sites. So the nuclear sites, which means where nuclear technology is in play, and what the JCPOA and observe whether Iran acts according to the JCPOA. The situation could be like we have in North Korea today, because the IEA was there as well. But at some point, the DPRK, the North Korean government, decided to leave the non-proliferation treaty, and of course then the inspectors of the IEA had to leave as well. So in things then we have very, very limited information what DPRK is doing. There are some satellite images which are many times not accurate. So the satellite images once in a while tell you something, but otherwise they are wrong. We don't really know what's going on. That's the pity, and that would be the work of the IEA. So of course the best thing would be the IEA returns to the DPRK if there is such an agreement. But so far this is not a multilateral endeavor. So it's a bilateral issue between President Trump and the leader Kim Jong-un. So which is unfortunate, I have to say, because I do not think that will lead to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula as what was foreseen in the Singapore summit. So the IEA doesn't have a role in North Korea. So far it does not. So of course the best would be to go back to 6, now I would say 7 party talks where all the neighboring countries were involved, including Japan, but I'm saying 7 party talks because the European Union should be part of this as well, because now missiles could meet and target European countries as well. Why shouldn't the European Union be involved in this? But unfortunately we have a bilateralism in this world now, and this is what President Trump and also leader Kim Jong-un seem to prefer, and all the other countries are sidelined. So it's for Japan, and it's for the European Union, and the South Korean President Moon Jae-in is trying to stay in the game, but it's hard for him. So that's because, of course, was one of the driving forces of this rapprochement, but now they are trying to sideline him as well. So the IEA, but as I said, if the IEA is not invited, if a state is not party of an MPT, the state could do anything. So that's also true for Pakistan, India, for that matter Israel as well, which is very likely that Israel has also nuclear warheads. So the IEA is doing what it is supposed to do, and that's what the Board of Governors decides. That's what the IEA is doing, and it's very limited. The IEA does not have a role in bilateral agreements like INF or START or whatever. So. The IEA, let me say one thing. We also, which is not very known, in 2017 there was a treaty text adopted by 122 states in New York on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. So it requires now 50 ratifications in order to put in force. Now there are about 35 ratifications. But if this treaty comes into force, that would be a role for the IEA again to verify disarmament. But so far the treaty is adopted but not in force yet, so that might be a role for the IEA in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor. It's so interesting point, so I want to ask you about it one by one. So back to the Iran.
Please interrupt me if there's
something. Okay, sure. All right.
Yeah.